Hello everyone, Ollie here from 𝕼𝕒𝕟𝕤𝕗, and I'm back after 2 months since our last upload, which was where me, Rusty, and 𝗫𝕗𝕗 went to go watch Gladiator 2 in the cinema. But I'm not going to get into too much detail, but obviously apologies for not uploading since then. All three of us have been very busy with our own personal stuff. Yeah, just with me being at university and 𝗫𝕗𝕗 also in his educational field as well, and then also Rusty's been going through some personal stuff as well. So we've not really had any time to really go to the cinema together and actually obviously make a video. So first of all, apologies, and to be honest, we usually upload whenever we can upload. Like, we don't have a set schedule to make videos. We just make them whenever we can, and that's how it's always been, even before 𝗫𝕗𝕗 came around. And for people that are here for the first time, hello. Yeah, for people that don't know, this channel started off with just me and Rusty. Obviously you can look back in the old videos to see who Rusty is, again, if you're here for the first time. Yeah, so obviously there's 3 people here on this channel: me, Ollie, Rusty, and also 𝗫𝕗𝕗. So go check out our previous videos if you're here for the first time, but sit tight and watch this video first, because today, in this video, I'm going to be discussing all the January films that I've watched in January. Or I should have just said, I'm going to talk about all the films that I've watched in the month of January. Sounds better, doesn't it? But of course I always fuck up on the first time, so yeah, so let's talk January films. 7 January films, should I point out. So while we've been away, or while I've been away at least, I've been very active on Letterboxd. I've also recently just become a Patreon member on there as well, because I ended up using it quite a lot, and I hated having all those pop-up ads everywhere. I obviously understand why they have them, but it is irritating for me. But anyway, now I'm a Patreon member on Letterboxd, and it's great, and I'm really enjoying being on there and reviewing all the films that I've vlogged. So I'm going to be talking about all the films that I watched well, last month in January, and also some of the January films that I wasn't able to watch in January that I've watched at the beginning of February this month. So also, I should probably point out as well that all these films that I'm going to be listing have released in the UK in January. I know that in the States, you guys in the States and America have had these films like the tail end of 2024. These films have come out in January this year for us, so if you're unhappy about that, tough shit. So yeah, that's a quick note before I begin my ranking. So 7 films, like I've already said. I'm going to talk, obviously, go from worst to best. It's not really worst, actually. It's kind of my least favourite to my favourite that I've watched last month, or from films that have come out in January. So I've made a list on Letterboxd, and again, I'm going to go through every single film and kind of not go in full detail on the films, because some of the earlier ones I don't remember as well, because my memory is not great. So yeah, I'm just going to go from my least favourite to my favourite and discuss them with you guys that way. So yeah, so my least favourite this month, or 7th place, is BABYGIRL. So this is the film starring Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson. It's an erotic drama. I believe that's the or erotic thriller drama. Yeah, and yeah, when deciding to go watch this film, I obviously did a little bit of research, because every film that I want to go watch, I usually go do a little bit of research. Not loads. I just want to know, like, a basic summary of the film, like a basic synopsis, basically. And yeah, so it's basically about this this CEO, obviously Nicole Kidman's character plays a CEO of this robotics company, and Harris Dickinson becomes basically um, an intern at that company. And they basically meet and get jiggy with it. Now, not straight away. Nicole Kidman's character, not to get into too much detail because I don't want to spoil for any of those who want to still watch the film that haven't yet. Basically, it's about, like, I've already said what it's about, but yeah, so they basically meet up at the workplace. They initially, well, Nicole Kidman initially doesn't like Harris Dickinson because he seems to be quite forward to begin with, and then she's quite taken aback by it in a not in a positive way, in a relatively negative way, because he's much younger than her, and she's quite old. I think she's like in her late 50s, maybe. I think so. Yeah. So just on that basic summary, the fact that this mid late 50s lady meeting this younger, maybe late 20s guy, and they end up, getting to a close relationship, is quite controversial because it's really, I mean, it speaks for itself, to be honest, doesn't it? So yeah, the film also stars Antonio Banderas, who is a legend. Obviously, we know him who voices Puss in Boots in the Shrek films, and also the two Puss in Boots spin-off films. He's in The Mask of Zorro, Desperado, Spy Kids. So I'm just looking at his filmography. But anyway, yeah, I really like Antonio Banderas. I think he was one of the best actors in this film. I don't know. There's this one particular scene which I won't get into because of spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, very quite a powerful scene with his acting abilities. So yeah, overall, to summarise the film, I thought it was okay. I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which is an equivalent to a 6 out of 10. It wasn't awful. I mean, I respect the filmmaker's kind of intent. Like, obviously this film is not for everybody. As I've seen on Letterboxd, it's got a 3.0 rating on Letterboxd. So yeah, very mixed response. Yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about the film. Like, I think it was filmed very well. All the performances were pretty top notch, to be honest. It wasn't really the erotic side. I don't usually watch erotic thrillers whatsoever. I haven't even watched Eyes Wide Shut, which is a film by Stanley Kubrick, which also has Nicole Kidman in, with Tom Cruise. But yeah, erotic thrillers have never been my forte, shall I say? That kind of rhymed. Yeah, so I've wanted to watch as many films as I could this year, and already this month I've watched 7, which for me that's quite an achievement, which for some is probably nothing compared to a lot of other cinephiles. But yeah, for me it's an achievement, and it's great considering I am a film fanatic. So yeah, Baby Girl, 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, with some great performances, great cinematography, interesting story. But it just wasn't entirely for me. But yeah, so that's Baby Girl at number 7. Okay, so coming in at number 6 for me, let me just get back to the list. Number 6 for me, this is an interesting one because, first of all, it's not an English film, not made in America or the UK. It's actually a foreign film. It's an Italian film called VERMIGLIO. Some of you may have heard of it, maybe not. I mean, it depends on your, what kind of films you like watching. If you like the big blockbuster films, then you probably would have never heard of it. But I'm going to talk about it a little bit about now. So, yeah, so VERMIGLIO, again, made in Italy. The language is Italy with English subtitles, and yeah, this caught my eye while I was looking at on one of the local cinemas that I usually go to, and I was like, this is interesting. So then I watched the trailer, and it intrigued me. It looked quite interesting. Obviously, didn't know any of the cast members, and that's totally okay. I always like watching um, um, films with an unknown cast. Like it's always great watching films with actors that you love or just like or know. But watching films that with actors that you've never seen before on screen is always an interesting experience. I don't know, but yeah. I just realised it's quite loud. Turn it down a little bit. Is that better? That's a bit better. Sorry if sorry if the volume is really loud. I tested this earlier, but not much. But hopefully that's a little bit quieter. So yeah, I thought the film was. I say similar in the sense of Baby Girl. Obviously, it's nothing like Baby Girl because obviously that's an erotic thriller. This is more of a drama, like a historical drama. It's set in, I believe, World War II times, I believe. Let me just double check again, because I don't remember too much of these films. Well, the films that I've watched earlier in January. But yeah, set in 1944, Vermiglio is a remote mountain village, and basically, so the arrival of Pietro, a deserter into the family of a local teacher, and his love of the teacher's eldest daughter will change the course of everyone's life. So, yeah, again, Vermiglio is a small remote mountain village in Italy, and basically is about this kind of town, and basically, yeah, it's quite a it's certainly an independent film. Yeah, I was interested in watching this film because, you know, as a cinephile, I want to try and watch as many different films as I can, genre, themes, etc. So, yeah, it's a drama set in Italy, in a small remote village called Vermiglio, obviously the film title. So this was an interesting find, actually, because I found this from on one of my local cinema websites, and I was looking at the coming soon section on there, and I found Vermiglio, and I was oh. So I watched the trailer, and it looks quite intriguing, and I went to go watch it with my grandmother, because she thought it looked quite interesting as well, and overall we gave it a thumbs up, but again, because it's not really the film that, or at least I would go and watch in the cinema. But again, I wanted to give this one a go because, again, I want to try and watch more challenging films, and watch films that aren't in my comfort zone. And yeah, I mean, I'm very happy that I watched it because, you know, I love watching different films. But again, it wasn't entirely for me, but it's more of a film that I can respect than like. But yeah, again, it's not a bad film. Um, yeah, I just think, um, yeah, this is one of those films that I don't really have too much to say on because one, I don't remember it too well, but yeah, it's just I might watch it sometime in the future. It's not a very rewatchable film, at least for me. Um, yeah, so Vermiglio is my number 6. Coming in at number 5, and it's a shame to say that this is this low because I was hoping this was going to be at least in my top 3. But obviously, I'll explain why it's my number 5 and not in my top 3. And that is The Brutalist. This is a film directed by Brady. I remember his first name. What was his last name? Oh, come on, where are you? The Brutalist. It's directed by Brady Corbett, and starring Adrian Brody, Felicity Jones, Guy Pearce, Joe Alwyn, etc. Those are the only 4 that I know in the film. So, yeah, a great cast. a stunning looking film, by the way. It's just so it's one of the best looking films that I've watched so far this year. Um, and yeah, an interesting plot as well. So yeah, the film is based around this Hungarian Jewish immigrant who basically immigrates to the United States in order to start a brand new life because it's set in World War II times. So he's kind of separated from his family and he's on his own. And again, he immigrates to the US to start a new life. And yeah, he basically bumps into Pearce, yeah, Guy Pearce's character, and yeah, Guy Pearce's character Harrison is basically this rich bastard that owns this firm, and he gives a job to Adrian Brody's character to build this massive building. I won't say too much, but interesting plot, great cast, fantastic cinematography, fantastic score as well. Just the score, the music is just so mesmerizing and just so memorable. And yeah, this film has one of those scores that I just won't ever forget because it's just so memorable. So yeah, the reason why it's number 5 and not in my top 3 is because the second half of the film. I say second half because obviously this, for people that don't know, this film has an intermission in the middle because it's a 3.5 hour film, and it's got an intermission basically in the middle of the film, like an hour and 40ish minutes into the film, which was totally needed. Because if I was sat there for 3.5 hours, I would have just died. But yeah, I don't regret watching any of these films because it's always great to watch films in the cinema, especially the big ones such as The Brutalist, because it's just one of those films, again, shot on Panavision, which was very interesting to find out. Yeah, I just hearing incredible things about it from critics and some audience members. Some audience members are kind of on the same wavelength as me. This is that some of it is a bit questionable, especially mainly in the second half of the film. And I really liked the first half of the film. Obviously, when I say half, I mean up to the intermission and then on. The first half of the film, I really dug. I really liked it. I liked how they set it up, and yeah, but the payoff in the second half was a little bit iffy to me. And I'm still looking it up and everything. I've had a little look up because I watched it on Friday evening, and I got back home at like 11 o'clock. So you know, I did a little bit of research and then I went to bed, and then I did a little bit more in the morning. But yeah, not too much. But yeah. Again, stylistically fantastic. The plot was interesting up until maybe the end-ish, but perhaps on a rewatch I might like it even more. And the fact that maybe once I understand, you know, the vision of the director's vision on the film, hopefully I'll like it even more, because I was really looking forward to this film. Even though there are elements in the film that I really liked, the payoff of the film, I was a little bit. I was questioning the second half, mainly the end, basically. But yeah, stylistically beautiful. But the kind of the plot, especially near the end, was a bit wobbly for me. But yeah, I think I gave this a 7 out of 10, so 3.5 stars out of 5. So yeah, that's my number 5. Okay, so my number 4 is A Complete Unknown. This is the Bob Dylan biopic that stars Timothée Chalamet, who obviously plays Bob Dylan. It also stars Elle Fanning, Edward Norton, Monica Barbera or something. I can't remember her name. God damn it! Let me find it. Oh, it's right here. Monica Barbera. I was very close, to be fair. Yeah. I think there's a few that I know. Oh, Boyd Holbrook as well. Dan Folger, which was quite a surprise as well. Oh, Scoot McNairy as well. I was like, Jesus. Yeah. So yeah, A Complete Unknown. I quite liked it. I I don't recall ever watching another. Sorry, I don't actually recall watching a music biopic prior to this. I mean, I've heard a bunch of musical biopics, including like the Bob Marley one. Excuse me. And obviously the Freddie Mercury one, Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, obviously the Elton John biopic as well. But I'd never watched any of those ones, the ones that at least I listed that I know. But complete unknown. Bob Dylan is an interesting fellow. And I didn't do too much research into him. I've listened to a couple of his music. I have listened to a couple of Bob Dylan's tracks, which are obviously a Rolling Stone and A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. Two of which are very good songs in my opinion. And they're probably more his most popular ones. Again, I haven't heard too much of his music, but again, I only know like a few tracks of his. And I don't know too much about him. After the film, I did buy this, which is obviously Dylan Goes Electric, which was written by Elijah Wald. Haven't started reading yet, which is typical of me with books. I bought this so I knew more about the film, because as it says up here, this little sticker that says, because I don't know if it is, so the inspiration for the major motion picture, A Complete Unknown. I don't know if it's going to focus, which is why I just read it out, because, you know, the focusing on this is terrible. I've yet to read it. Yeah, it's very interesting. So I bought that the same day I went to watch the film, or the day after, I think, or was it the day before? I can't remember. It was around the time when I went to go watch the film, but I still haven't managed to start reading it yet. So at some point, when I'm back in the Bob Dylan mood, I will start reading that. But yeah, I thought the film was very good. Brilliant cast. I think Timothée Chalamet, or Timothée Chalamet, however you want to pronounce his first name. I thought I was actually quite surprised by his performance as Bob Dylan, because you see some of the films he's been, he's kind of that kind of guy that plays almost the same thing, maybe. I say that, but I've only watched like 2 of his other films. But, he's that kind of typecast kind of star now that kind of goes in anything. But he's actually very good. I think he does quite a damn good Bob Dylan, it's weird to say impression, but it kind of is, because he's playing him in in a biopic. So whatever you want to call it, his acting ability, his performance as Bob Dylan was, in my opinion, very good. I think his singing as well was actually just as good as his acting. Personally, I thought he was very good. Edward Norton as Pete Seeger, I thought he was very good as well. Monica, sorry, I didn't just move that by accident. Monica Barbaro, however you pronounce her last name, she was quite good as well. Elle Fanning I really like as well. I really like her as an actress. Who else does it? Skeet McNairy, who played Woody Guthrie, who was Edward Norton's kind of old friend. I was a surprise. I didn't realise that Skeet McNairy, until I watched the film, I didn't realise that Skeet McNairy was going to be in the film. But yeah, it was quite a nice surprise to see. So A Complete Unknown, very good film. I gave it a 4-star out of 5, aka an 8 out of 10. So yeah, pretty damn good film. It was quite surprised, but I mean, I thought, I knew it was going to be probably good, but I didn't think it was going to be that good for me. I mean, it wasn't like incredible, but it was pretty damn good. So yeah, Complete Unknown, my number 4. Now we are here at the top 3. What are they going to be? So my number 3, which was one of my most anticipated films this year, and that is Nosferatu, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. So yeah, this film stars Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe, Emma Corrin, Ralph Ineson, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, and etc. So yeah, very good cast. All of which that I thought did incredible. Robert Eggers as a director, I've always found him so fascinating. I love his, well, I say all three of his films, but I've watched The Witch, which I really like, The Lighthouse I really like, The Northman I could never finish, and I've yet to finish it, and I really want to rewatch it at some point when I'm back in the Robert Eggers mood. I was going to try and rewatch it in I say in preparation, but before watching Nosferatu, I was going to try and watch The Northman, but I didn't have time. So, yeah. I have all three of his films on my shelf, and I wish I'd pre-ordered the Steelbook, but I ran out of time, and they're now sold out. So, they might come back in stock. It's highly unlikely, but I'll probably just get the Blu-ray like with the other three previous films of his that I've got. So, yeah. Definitely will buy this on Blu-ray to obviously have it in my collection, my Robert Eggers collection. But yeah, I thought Lily Rose Depp in particular was the standout role. I think Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok, I thought he was good in the darkness. I thought he did great in the shadows. His voice was quite good as well. His appearance, however, when you see him in the behind-the-scenes photos, and also in some of the, especially later on in the film, with a mustache and everything, I thought that looked a bit hokey. Sorry for that abrupt stop. My headset decided to turn itself off. I have no idea why, but we're back. So, as I was saying, yeah, I thought Bill Skarsgård was good. I just think the appearance was a little bit hokey. And yeah, I think if he shaved that moustache off, it would have looked quite a bit better. But yeah, I like to look at his Count Orlok as one of those antagonists in the shadows rather than when you actually physically see him. The voice was very intimidating. Just his hands coming out as well when you see it. Like, you see, like, a lot of the shadow, his kind of, his, what's the fucking word? His silhouette, kind of that kind of thing. You kind of see the outline of him, which I thought worked really well until the end of the film, when they kind of show him a bit more. I mean, he's not in total light, because obviously he's a fucking vampire, and he obviously can burn, so, yeah, it was a great choice up until the end to keep him in the shadows, and I think they should have done that throughout the whole film, but, you know, artistic choice, and that's fine, you know? But yeah, Nosferatu was a big thumbs up for me, for the most part. I thought it was very good. Great story. Really liked the time period as well. Again, the cast was fantastic, particularly Lily Rose Depp. This was the first film that I've watched her in, or seen her in. And yeah, she gave out an outstanding performance, and I can't wait to see what else she does in the future. So yeah, Nosferatu, I gave a 9 out of 10, 4.5 star. Very, very good. So yeah, Nosferatu is my number 3 of the January films. Okay, so coming in second place for me, which was a very big surprise for me. I didn't realise this was going to be this high on my list, but here it is. A Real Pain, starring, also written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, also co-starring Kieran Culkin, one of the Culkin brothers. Yeah. So, yeah, again, this is a big surprise for me, and I cannot believe how much I loved this film. I thought this was... I don't know how to describe it, but, yeah, yeah, I thought the acting was amazing. I thought the story was just... I cried twice during this film, just so you know. I cried twice. Yeah, some very emotional scenes in this film, which got me twice. So, yeah, really heartfelt. yeah, I just really liked um, Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin's performances, their chemistry, their back and forth humor, their back and forth relationship throughout the film. I just see these films. I don't have too much to say. I just really like these films. Um, but yeah, A Real Pain, a big surprise for me. I thought the performances were amazing. Obviously, particularly Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. Obviously, they play cousins, and they basically go to Poland to um, basically mourn their grandmother that passed away, and they basically go to her house and basically grief there basically and pay their respects. Um, yeah, so before they actually go to their grand's house, they basically have a tour around Poland just to get a sense of the country and their culture. And yeah, it's a very interesting journey to go through with these two, and I just loved it. I loved the road trip feel. If you want to call it a road trip film, but I call it a road trip film, essentially. Yeah, so it's a film basically about these cousins trying to reconnect and get along, basically, and just yeah, and they meet other people along the way who are some great characters. Yeah, I really liked it. Again, I am usually terrible with describing films, but yeah, that's all I can really say about A Real Pain. I just thought it was very, very good. Definitely check that one out as well. You should check out all these films, by the way. Like, depending on any of your taste of film. I just, especially these top three, I really enjoyed. So yeah, A Real Pain is my second favourite film of January. Okay, my number one, which is the first film that I've seen this year and has stayed number one since the beginning of January, and that is We Live in Time. Starring Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, just some of the two of the most... I love them. I love them both. I really like their personalities. Not as actors, but just as people. I really like them as people. I really like them. I love their humour. I love their personalities. I love... Yeah, and as soon as I heard that they were in a film together, I was like, this is perfect. I love their dynamic in the film. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. I've been speaking for about 20 minutes now, and my voice is starting to go. But yeah, I cried. I think, did I cry or did I almost? I think I almost cried multiple times during this film. Yeah, I love the film mainly because of Florence and Andrew's characters and their chemistry, and just I don't know. I love their dynamics between one another. I also love the story as well. I love the fact that they've met in this situation that accidentally happened. Obviously, if you've seen the trailer, you already know what it is. But in case you haven't seen the trailer, I won't say anything. But this journey that these guys go through throughout the film was just so amazing. I just loved. I don't want to repeat myself, but I love the dynamic. That's what really sold the film. Because if that didn't work, the film wouldn't have been that great. Because you know, it's all about the couple's dynamic and how they connect, and yeah, it's about love, comedy, drama, etc. So this all worked for me. I loved it. It's my favourite film of the year so far, and obviously it's also my favourite film that had come out in January. So yeah, apologies if this ranking was kind of all over the place in terms of me talking about the films and such. I didn't really plan it ahead, but I had thought about making this video because, one, it had been a while since we've uploaded, but two, I mean, once I started watching these films throughout the month, I was like, you know what, at the end of January or the beginning of February, or in this case, mid-February, I would make a video on all the films that I'd watched last month, and also the beginning of February that had come out last month. So, yeah, nonetheless, if you enjoyed this ranking and my thoughts on the films that I'd watched last January, or last month, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content with my ass, or want to see what Rusty and NerdTube are like, go watch our previous videos. I've recently changed, for people that don't know or haven't noticed, I've changed the layout on our channel, on our homepage, where we have 3 different playlists. We have all the videos that feature all 3 of us in, made 2 playlists, where it's duo videos, so a playlist with me and Rusty, and then a playlist with just me and NerdTube, and then 3 individual playlists that have just got singular videos, such as this, like me. So videos with just me, videos with just Rusty, and videos with just with NerdTube. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and let us know what your favourite, what your top, how many films you've watched in January, and put them in the comments below. There's actually a couple of other films that I haven't managed to watch yet, including Companion and Hard Truths, but I just haven't had the time to watch them. So, but to be fair, 7 films in a month, for me, that's a great achievement. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully me, Rusty, and NerdTube will see you on the 15th of February. I don't know if the video will be coming out on the 15th. It might be the 16th, but depending on how things go when I get back home. Yeah, stay tuned for that video if you're interested, and yeah, I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.